good afternoon, evening, or morning, whichever time it is that you're listening to this. So today, I went to the VA for an appointment. First of all, Boris says hello. Oh wait, no he doesn't. FYI, quick little announcement, quick little friendly advice, reminder, warning, whatever. Dogs don't speak English. So when you see him and you say, hey buddy, he can't respond. It's just for you. You're being selfish. Quit it. Anyway, so this isn't about my dog at all. That was just a free one. That's a throwaway. Not about my dog. Not about my dog. Here it goes. I'm at the VA sitting there. This guy with this shirt on. It says, the gene pool needs chlorine. That's what his shirt says, guys. The gene pool needs chlorine. This is an adult human being male walking around on the earth we live on today. And I looked at the guy and I thought to myself, no. No way. Like, I almost looked around to try to see if I was being punked, because I was like, no way. That shirt can't say what it says. Even more ironic situation here. Sitting to the left of him, you can see that water bottle there, kind of floating in the air. That's because I cropped it out. There was a veteran, a female, black, African-American veteran sitting right there next to him. Literally sitting right there next to him. And I'm just thinking to myself, this shirt means something. I know it does. And then, again, totally, I did not intend for this to happen at all. I get out to my car. By the way, the class we were going to was not a fun class. It was exceptionally difficult, very taxing, very difficult at the VA, sitting there in a very tight room. You're going to hear more about this later, because I actually did a little bit of a podcast right after I got finished about the class and what it was, and I spent a good 2 hours sort of combing over it, and I intend to share that information with more veterans. But this isn't about that at all. This is about this guy who's wearing a shirt that says, the gene pool needs chlorine. He was wearing a jacket that looked kind of like the one from American History X, you know, the bomber jackets, and that's what he took off. He took that off, and I saw that, and what you can't see is on his left forearm is an iron cross with a swastika right in the middle of it. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, whoa, there's a live one right in front of me. Right here. I was blown away. I almost couldn't believe what I was seeing, which is part of the reason the photos are so crappy. First of all, I shouldn't have taken a photo of somebody in public. Obviously, I cropped out his face. But I was so taken aback. I was like, no way, dude. His shirt says that. I mean, his shirt could say a lot of different things and not get a shock out of me. I mean, it could say very disgusting, horrible, what many people would consider to be heinous things, and I wouldn't even care. You know, I was a grunt in the Army. Are you kidding me? I've seen it all, smelt it all, ate it all, done it all, smoked it all, ate it all. I've done it all. I'm sure. That's what every grunt says, right? But yeah, no, for real though. So I was sitting there, and I saw this man wearing this shirt, and then I look over at the black girl, woman, the human being that with darker skin, who looked to me to be a female, was sitting next to him. And as soon as he took his bomber jacket off, she looked at me, I looked at her, she looked at the shirt, she looked at me, I looked at her. And she, I think she was just as speechless, and she kind of, as I was, and she just kind of giggled it off, kind of blew it off, you know. I've never had this happen before in my whole life. I will say, one time when I was active duty in the military, there was a time when I met this guy who had swastikas all over his body. He was a very buff, very cut guy, got a lot of attention in the platoon because he was a PT stud, but you know, he's a real quiet guy. It turns out he really hated black people and Jews. He was actually a self-proclaimed Nazi. And with the news today, all this crap about all the news, all the Nazi and neo-Nazi and all these words getting thrown around that people, by and large, don't know what they mean. And I know that that's true, mostly because I'm certain that I don't know what some of them mean either. And so, what I know for a fact is that many of the people who I've seen, you know, wearing the Nazi things on their view things similar ways. I'm not saying that people who wear this shirt are Nazis. I'm not. And I'm not saying I throw around that word lightly. It's a dumb word to throw around. It's a really... Okay, Boris says hello. He's shaking, saying hello. It's a dumb word to throw around. It really is. Nazi. But this guy had a shirt that said what it said, which you can sort of read. It says the gene pool needs chlorine. And maybe it's a reference to something different. So I'm going to finish the story. So I step outside in my car, and I'm driving, and I'm about to leave the parking lot, and I look to the left, and there's this guy in the bomber jacket with the Iron Cross on the sleeve, with the gene pool needs chlorine shirt on, and on the back of his car, please don't blow me up here, guys, when I tell you what I saw. It had a Alex Jones sticker on it, InfoWars sticker on it, a white America is a better America sticker on it. What was it? It was something about fascism and a reference to Obama. And I just thought to myself, wow, I think we have a real life. I think this might, I don't know, maybe this guy's just playing a role. Maybe he's just fulfilling a thing. Maybe he's just trying to be somebody he's not. I don't know. But it seemed like we had a real live, unapologetic, open racist at the VA. It seemed that way. I don't know. It seemed that way. And again, I didn't speak to the man other than the fact that I told him that my dog doesn't speak English. Literally. He was one of the human beings today that walked up and was like, "Hey, puppy," and I'm like, "Nope, my dog doesn't. He doesn't talk with the words. Biology, and this isn't about my dog, guys. This is about the dude wearing the shirt and how crazy it was." So the swastikas and stuff, the idea of symbols representing ideologies, it's a real thing. That's a true thing. A lot of people have that experience. If you see somebody with a tribal tattoo, you don't think, "Oh, I wonder what tribe they were in." You think, "Oh, what a douchebag." I don't know. I don't have a tribal tattoo. I do have an Indian tattoo because I have some Indian in my bloodline, and I used to be young once. Although I don't think tattoos are bad, and if you have a tribal tattoo and you're not a douchebag, then you're a good person. That's great. But if you are a douchebag, don't be one. But I digress. Symbols mean things. When you see symbols, when somebody wearing a shirt that says Nike, so no matter what, brand recognition is a thing, and it matters, and so perhaps he was trying to make a different point. I don't know. But I definitely, whatever his point was completely and totally lost in the fact that the Nazi symbol on his arm, the shirt on his chest, and the Iron Cross on his jacket, something completely different altogether. So maybe just take into consideration how what you wear sort of affects your message, and how maybe it might be lost. I used to make that mistake often. I used to wear shirts and clothes that I thought were effective, but really they weren't. They were just doing the opposite. They actually hurt people. They actually hurt my message. They actually took away from what I was doing because of how I said it. The gene pool doesn't need chlorine. The gene pool needs love. The gene pool needs kindness. Oh, I know I sound like a hippie, don't I? Right? And everybody's like, "Tim, you don't understand. It's something different. It's about this and this other thing." I didn't Google it, and I'm not going to, because I'm not interested in what it means. The swastika on his arm, the Iron Cross on his jacket said enough for me to say that, look, dude, I appreciate your if he wanted to sit down and have coffee, I wouldn't say no, by no means. But I am not willing to say that those symbols don't necessarily mean bad things. "Oh, but it's a Tibetan peace symbol." Okay, friend, perhaps it is. Do you mistake that person for a Tibetan? Able to say that might have been a racist. I don't know. Might have been like an actual live unapologetic like anti-Semite. I don't know. I wonder. And then I wonder if why should that be tolerated by the far okay, here we go, guys. Buckle up. I hope my signal lasts long enough. Why should we tolerate the far left? Why should the far left liberal super left political people, why should they tolerate him wearing that? That should offend them so much. There should be an outcry about this man wearing this, but there's not. But if I walked in wearing a shirt, again, I'm not saying that this is a good tactic. I'm saying it's a bad tactic. But if I walked in wearing a shirt where it had it was a graphic image of two pit bulls bloodied with their throats slit and said, "Stop dogfighting," Everybody there loves dogs, but nobody would probably like that shirt. Not many people there. Maybe at the VA, I don't know. There's some twisted dudes there. But the point would be that my message would be lost. Now, I'm not saying that everything needs to be puppy dogs and, babies wrapped in American flags and sweet and kind and good. And there are harsh messages that need to be said. And oftentimes t-shirts are great methods of communication. But what's the message here? And furthermore, if his intention is to make a better earth, does he not recognize that the human beings with skin tones that are darker than his, or with religious views that don't align with his, doesn't he recognize that those human beings are also earthlings? So if his intention is to make a better earth, a better place, a better America, make it great again, here we go. Oh man, everybody's freaking out, right? No, nobody's freaking out. Shut up. Nobody's freaking out. If that's their intention, right or left, it doesn't matter. There's ways and methods that it is inexplicably clear. It's undeniable. It's clear. It's not confusing. It's right there in front of us. How to handle these things. Don't be a jerk. Be nice. Oh, but Tim, you're oversimplifying it. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. It is that simple. Think about what you do. Think about what you say. Think about why you say it. Think about when you say it. Think about who you say it to. Think about who's listening. Does this need to be said? Does this need to be said by me? Does this need to be said right now? Does it? No, it does not need to be said. Or yes, it does need to be said. No, this isn't important. Or yes, this is important. Checks and balances are essential components of a right life. Tim, who are you to say right? I want to be a degenerate. I want to be a bad person. Then don't complain and whine and moan when things go the way you intended them to go. If you take things and put things into action and take steps and measures and put things into action that set forward events and outcomes, then don't complain about those outcomes coming out. My mom used to say, Tim, if you made the bed, you're going to sleep in it. I'd come home drunk, partying, sneaking out. At 7 a.m., she'd have me by the trash can with a shovel. Here, pick up those rocks, and when you're done, put them over there. And then when you're done, put them back over there. That was her. Yeah, you made your bed, son. You sleep in it. The fact is, the irony there is that I wanted to sleep, but she wouldn't let me, you see. No, but Mom, I'll sleep it off. I'm so sorry. No, that didn't happen. That's right. Keep it simple, stupid. Or, keep it simply stupid. Anyway. Yeah, you're right, George. You got it. George commented here on a live video thread here if you're listening later. And he just said, Kisk, the golden rule. Keep it simple. Be nice. Think about others. Be considerate. This video I got coming up later, you guys, is going to blow your minds. This isn't about this. This is about the video. This is about the guy at the VA here with his shirt that says, the gene pool needs chlorine. And he promotes stupid things and says stupid stuff, whatever. Got Nazi stuff on his arm and his car had all kinds of Nazi stuff. Whatever, who cares? The point is, if you're going to be outraged on a political stance, if you're going to be outraged, if you're going to get butthurt about something, and you're going to freak out and scream and cry about your message, and then you're going to come out with something that is so contradictory to your message, and say it's okay, and say it, and try to pretend like it doesn't take away from your message, then you're living in a delusion. You've created a delusion. You have manufactured a fictitious world that you're living in, and you want everyone else to conform to that world. That's a world I don't want to live in. And I don't have to. See, I intend to create a world, universe, quote unquote, fingers in the world. This is all hyperbole, of course, to a degree, because this man was really wearing this shirt, right? But I intend to create a world where I live that doesn't negatively affect the people that live around me, but instead positively impacts the world around me. Positively impacts the world around me. Right? And so there's no way to argue that holding, here you go, guys. And this is going to maybe make some people mad, make other people upset. I don't know, maybe other people agree with it. I think if you hold a picture of a dead baby in front of an abortion facility, that's not a good thing. That's a bad tactic. That's my opinion. And if you wear a shirt that says the gene pool needs chlorine, that's also a bad tactic. That's also a bad decision. Unanimously. And the argument from the Christian oftentimes is, well, you've got to uproot the darkness. You've got to expose the evil. I agree. Expose evil. Yes. You know, in the early times of the slavery, they used images of slaves. It was effective to a degree, but they were very, very particular about it. They weren't naggy about it, and they didn't act like Fred Phelps. They didn't act like a bunch of lunatics. They didn't treat people as if they were less valuable due to their different ideological, spiritual, religious, Christian, or political or other views. That's heinous. It's disgusting. It's gross. Don't do that. Ever, man. Ever. Let that crap go, dude. Let it go on the mat wherever it needs to go. If you're not into jiu-jitsu, you probably should be. If you can't physically, I'm sorry. I hope you get into something that you can produce, get your mind producing some oxytocin, some dopamine, some serotonin. Get into some jiu-jitsu. It's awesome. That's where you can let this crap out. This cat right here wearing his shirt, he needs jiu-jitsu, man. He needs to understand the principle of submission. The concept of the crush, the sweet, sweet fragrance of your own actual breath exiting your diaphragm and knowing that you have an inability to take another breath back in. Man, that's a powerful moment right there. Especially when the individual that you're sparring with is half your size. It's a tough thing, but it's needed because that ego needs crushed. That ego needs crushed. That ego needs crushed. My ego. Sorry, my connection's really crappy, guys. I apologize. So if I keep losing. A lot of people talk about the crush. A lot of people talk about the idea of being put under submission. And what it can do for you mentally is unlike anything else. It's better than any drug. And if you don't like rap music, that's okay. That's fine. I get it, right? But there's this guy named Kendrick Lamar. He says some stupid stuff sometimes, but he's got this song. Drugs won't get you high as this. Now, he's talking about something completely different in the reference that his music is like dope. Fine, got it, whatever. Huh. Good play on words there, Kendrick. My point is this. Nothing like physical activity is going to get you undone from the way that this man is thinking. That he'll put tattoos of swastikas on his arms, and he'll wear bomber jackets with clear white supremacist racist stuff on it. And this isn't just me being a sensitive Sally. I'm not. Okay? I'm not. I'll be very blunt. If you've hung out with me in any capacity privately, you know I'm not generally shy about my words or how I feel or my opinions. And I think words are just sounds coming out of your mouth. And if you get butthurt about words, you're an idiot. I believe that. I do. I truly do. I love you, but I believe that. But at the same time, words also matter. Intentions matter. Who you say them to and who you say them around really truly matters. It does. And so that it's okay to just say whatever you want to whoever and not expect results. You'll get results. You will. But it just may not be the results you want. This guy maybe had a message to say. Maybe he really wasn't a racist. Maybe he didn't believe that the white gene pool needs purified or the gene, you know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe he doesn't believe that. Maybe the Nazi swastikas on his arm didn't mean what I thought it meant. Maybe. Who knows? But I'll never have the opportunity to engage that individual on his political or sociological views because, you know, he just gave off this sort of skinhead racist sort of look, given the jackboots he was wearing and the shirt and what have you. Anyway, guys, listen, I totally, completely don't support who they sleep with sexually, who they pray to religiously, who they agree with politically, and who they talk to socially. If you decide to judge someone based upon those four things, that's all right. But just know that maybe you might not be thinking about things correctly. So for instance, okay, if somebody says, I like to sleep with children, well, I'm probably not going to hang out with that person. But if somebody says, I'm a guy and I like to sleep with guys, well, okay, fine, whatever. Why are you talking to me about what you do? I don't need to know about that. I appreciate that you appreciate that. Fine. Moving on. Can we get on to what we were doing socially? Right? So there would be an example of where it wouldn't matter, right? But then we talk about like who they hang out with. Well, fine, you hang out with whoever you hang out with. But if your best friend is like, I don't know, some atrocious, horrible human being who does terrible things, and you think they're a great person, I perhaps may question your character, and that's a reasonable question. But that is limited to, egregious, outrageous moments. But if you hang out with Bob, and I think Bob's got a loud mouth and he's a stupid redneck, that doesn't mean I'm not going to hang out with you because you hang out with Bob. That's dumb. That makes me just as intolerant and stupid as I claim the Republican might be or not be. That makes me just as foolish. That makes me just as idiotic. That makes me just as hypocritical as I'm claiming the other side to be, which I'm not. I'm not, right? I'm not. So this isn't about politics. It's not about social economics. It's not about class. It's not about race. It's not about sex. It's not about religion. It's about humanity as a whole. Human decency, right? Like, we recognize that if our goal and intention here is to get from point A to point B and harm as least amount of people as possible, we've got to consider what we say, how we say it, and who we say it to. It matters. It matters. So if I've lost anyone in this and everybody's like, that Tim's a wishy-washy, blah, blah, I'd love to chat with you and have coffee. I'm just trying to be reasonable, you know? I wouldn't wear a shirt. I personally probably wouldn't wear a shirt that publicly states my political opinion in that manner, given the fact that, I mean, it's 2018 and things are happening now that they haven't happened before. I mean, if you've grown up in the 80s and 90s, this isn't the same as it was before. You know, doing the work you have to do as a police officer, holy crap, dude, that's tough work, man. That's hard work, dude. That's tough things to deal with, you know? That's hard. So to be a public servant or a police officer in some capacity where you have to deal with these sort of issues, man, there's life or death at the end of that decision sometimes, and that's a tough place to be. I wouldn't want to be there. I would not want to be there. But I'll tell you where else I wouldn't want to be. I wouldn't want to be a black person either in an all-black community with a white police officer. That would terrify me. I'll just be honest. That's just real honesty. I don't know if that makes me a bad person, but I've felt fear, you know? I've felt it, you know? I know a lot of people on my thread have too. A lot of guys have gone to war that I'm friends with. They know what fear is. They know that like, your life is not in your control, and that's a scary thing, man. Like, right now as a civilian, if you're chilling at your home and you're just sleeping and you're just doing whatever, you get up, you piss, you do whatever, you know, you make your food, you just sit around, you pet your dog, you go on the trip, you go to the store, you come back, whatever, right? All that stuff is great, and you take it for granted though. But like, sometimes when you're deployed, man, all those things are dumb and pointless compared to your life. And sometimes they don't coincide with orders. It's not like, you know, the orders didn't consist of stop over here and have a warm chow before I go to this next foxhole mission. No, it's just go over there and move. Or get in a Humvee, or go over here and do this, or go over here and guard that tower, or stare at that goat for 2 hours, or whatever. Whatever it is. But there's no comforts in that at all, you know? They say if the Army wanted you to have a family, they'd issued one. That's what the Army told me. You know, and so it's like, a lot of military guys really understand that concept of not being free to a degree. And we were willing to do that. We gave that up. You know, we gave that up on purpose. We signed that paperwork. We gave up our name. We did what we did for a reason. Because we believed in something. I don't know. Or we wanted to get away from something. Or we believed in something. Or we wanted to get to something. But when we did it, we really, I don't think any of us really understood. Some of us did, I think. But nobody really understood. Nobody from my platoon really understood what was happening to us. That we were really signing everything over. We were giving it all up. And man, it was like, all right, here we go. And they decided everything from then on. They decided everything. You piss, you shower, you poop, you shave, you do everything. You're it. That's it. You're it. That's it. You're it. That's it. You have thoughts that are independent and autonomous from the drill instructor. They're bad. Shut up, sit down, do what you're told. Shut up, sit down, do what you're told. Well, but what? No, shut up and sit down. Well, I was gonna... No, that was wrong. Shut up and do push-ups until I get tired. You're wrong. Shut up. You're wrong. Shut up. Knife hand, you're wrong. So a lot of us military dudes, we kind of get it. We get it. We kind of understand what control feels like. So when we interact with police officers, a lot of times, I think, veterans have an easier time. Why? We have a real respect. We have a respect for respect, I think. You know, we do. We tend to often be the first ones to say sir and ma'am. We tend to, why? Because we had to do push-ups if we didn't, right? We just got it drilled into us. You just sit down, you shut up, you do what you're told. You sit down, you shut up, you do what you're told. Well, the problem is, here we go, guys. I love all of you. Here we go. The problem becomes when somebody says do something and you don't want to do it and you buck back, there's so much in you as a veteran to a degree that's fighting that command, you know, because you want to do what you're told to do. And, you know, when you're talking to doctors, there's just this instilled level of respect that never sort of goes away, no matter what. Again, I apologize for the crappy, but I'm going to wrap this up by basically saying